Hey everyone, I hope y'all are doing good. In today's video, we'll be talking about XSS. Some of the people requested it, and I thought to make a video on it. So, we are going to explore some XSS challenges, and the difficulty will increase one by one. So, we are not just going to solve each challenge, but also I'm going to break down what's actually happening, why it's working, what was supposed to be a prevention method in a particular point, and stuff like that. So we're gonna have a chill talk while building our exercise muscle. Okay, so let's get into it. So when I got this video idea, I was looking for some challenges or labs, and then I came across this one. I don't know if you guys know about this, but I actually knew. I came across this a week ago, and it has pretty good challenges, so I thought, okay, why not this one? Well, this is stage 1, and as you can see, it says we are not allowed to use the scanners, and of course we're not going to use that. It's all manual, guys. We have some little hint over here as well, but you're not going to use that unless necessary. So our goal is to inject the JavaScript command this, so that it's going to pop up the domain name for us. We're going to try the most basic payload, of course, but before we do that, before just barging in with a payload, I want to write just normal text and then click on the search button and see where this ends up. So as you can see, it says no results for AS, and if I need to inspect, you can see it's in the B tag. Maybe it's small for you. Okay, I hope it's visible now. So as you can see, it ended up over here in the B tag. So we have to escape out of that HTML tag. To do that, we are going to type this, which I'm pretty sure all of you know. I know this is way too easy, the first one, but you'll see, guys. Document.domain, and then close. So this is going to alert document.domain when there is an error, and we're adding image source with a value 0, which is a wrong value. So this is going to give us error, and because it's giving us an error, it's going to alert this. Let's click on this search, and you can see we got a pop-up. And now we got a congratulations message as well, but let me just do a quick inspect to show you how it ended up. As you can see, we closed the tag over here, and then we injected our new img tag, which got rendered by the browser, and we got a pop-up. Great. Let's move on to stage 2. So again, we have to do the same thing. Let's see. We get a reflection. No, we don't see any reflection on the page. There has to be something happening in the background. Let's do a quick inspect and check if it did end up anywhere. Okay, it did. It's in the input tag here. As you can see, the name is P1, and inside the value we have our value that we typed, but we don't see it on the page. That's fine. It is getting inserted somewhere. Let's try to do the same thing again by trying to escape out of it. So you're going to use the same old payload and click on search, and this worked. Why? Because even though it wasn't being reflected or we couldn't see anything, but it was happening in the background, right? So let me click on inspect on this part, and the form action, we can see we closed the initial tag, and we injected our own payload here, and then we injected our own img tag, which gave us the pop-up. Great. Now let's move to stage 3. Increase the size Now we can see something more. Choose a country, some few options. Let's try to add some normal text again and see what kind of response we get. Okay, we do see this as in the page. So let's try our payload again and see if it works. It's not working. It's just showing us as it is in the value. So if I click on inspect, we can see it's getting inserted over here in the B tag, but we couldn't escape out of it and it didn't work for us. Let me capture this request so we can get a better understanding of what's happening. Let me turn on the intercept and add this payload again. Search. Now we have the request. Let me send this to repeater and send. Now our payload, let me type it out. As you can see, it is getting encoded over here, and that's why it is not working. It means the browser just rendered it as a text, not an HTML code. But we can notice one more parameter here, P2, that includes the name of the country. So we had this list of options over here, if you remember, this one. And this has a particular parameter, P2, so very likely this one is probably not checking or encoding the malicious payload. So we have the request here. I'm going to copy it, add some random text in P1 parameter and replace the value here and send the request. Intercept off. Do we get a hit? Maybe I have to do it side by side. Okay, let me do it again. Search, and then I'm going to add the old payload. Great. Now let's send this request. And we got the pop-up. So it means the P2 parameter was not sanitized or wasn't getting HTML encoded. Basically vulnerable. So it's always a good idea to always check different parameters through HTTP request from Burp Suite. Great. Let's move on to the fourth stage. Oh, we got the intercept on here. This happens with me so many times. Okay, so again we have the same thing over here. Two params maybe, but let's see what's going on. I'm going to capture the request again. Search. And we have three parameters now, P1, P2, and P3. And it literally says hack me. This is so obvious and a typical CTF style. But okay, I guess they got a bit lazy here. I don't know. But okay, we got an easy stage pass. And we got the pop-up. Great. Easy peasy. Okay, now we are on to stage 5, and we don't have that little option over here for that country. But again, we have the search bar. So let me type Medusa, and I'm going to capture this request. And let's just send this repeater and test it out over there. Off. Okay, so let's see where it's ending up. It's ending up in an input tag. So inside the value, if it's ending up inside a particular tag or an attribute, more like attribute in this case, we are supposed to escape out of that attribute, means closing it and then injecting our own tag. To do that, we can try the same old payload, but it's very likely not going to work. We're still gonna try it. received error code. What the heck? I don't know why. Okay, let's just do it in the UI. Oh, okay. My payload got redacted. It means there is a particular limit to it. Means we have to give a payload that is shorter. Okay, so let me just capture the request again. We have to bypass it actually. There's a length limit to it, and the length limit is probably on the client side, but if it is also implemented on the server side, this won't work. But we have to check it if it is implemented on the server side or not. In that case, we are going to try our same old payload. I think I should just copy it instead of typing this thing again and again. Okay. Send request. And we are getting the pop-up. Means the limit was not implemented on the server side, and we were able to bypass it through intercepting the request. Now we can move on to stage number 6. Okay, so again with the same goal, and we're gonna of course capture the request. I don't see any extra parameters. Let's try the same old payload, and I'm going to intercept the response of this request. Okay, so this is where our payload is ending up inside the value attribute, but this time the brackets are getting HTML encoded. As you can see, the angle brackets. Other things are not getting encoded, like quotes or circular braces. Okay, we can try something out. We have to try a payload that doesn't have angular brackets, and we know there's a huge list of things like that available on the internet, but I do have one in mind. So based on what we analyzed, we know one thing, that we cannot escape out of the input tag, because to escape out of a particular tag, angular brackets should be working, right? Because then only you'll be able to close the angular bracket. But since we don't have that option, our goal would be to inject the payload in the same input tag itself. So we can do that by, let me actually show you. Inspect. Oh my god, why I always use words like that? Okay, so as you can see, again we have the size limit 50, and this is our value over here. Since we cannot close and open our new tag, we are just going to close this value attribute and then inject something in this input tag itself. So something after the value. I hope you're getting the idea. So we're going to use a payload, something like this, first to close the value attribute by using a quote, and then we are going to add on mouse over equals, and then quote again. This is not getting HTML encoded, good for us. Document.domain, and then closing it, and then autofocus. Maybe this will work. I'm just going to copy it. And it didn't work. Wait, it worked. Oh, okay, yeah. Because of the focus, when I put my cursor over here, it works. I forgot. Okay, that's nice. So this is something you can try when the angle brackets are getting encoded. Let's move on to stage 7. Okay, so I'm just going to paste the previous payload and see what happens. This is not working, of course. But let me just capture this request. No parameters, just making sure. Let's see where our payload ended up. Autofocus, it was. Yep. Inside the input tag again, of course. And this time our codes are getting HTML encoded as well. So we are kind of cooked now because we cannot close this value attribute. In that case, we have to try a payload that doesn't have codes now. But it is technically not possible because we have to get out of the attribute there. We have to close it with a code. What are we gonna do here? Let's analyze a bit more what's happening. So some random text and a code. And let me inspect. You will know why am I doing this. Okay, so you can see this is our code. And you can see it is getting encoded. Let's try something more. Let's add the same payload of on mouse over and then alert document dot domain. So we have the same event which is going to alert this for us when we move our mouse here. Search it up. And this is working. Now you must be wondering how the codes were getting encoded. We couldn't get out of the attribute. Let me show you how. Over here, you can see we have our normal text that is GH and then our code which got encoded. But here's the catch. So even though the server HTML encoded the double code, it only did that for the part inside the value, as you can see here, and not the entire payload. That's why you don't see this one getting encoded. As you can see, this is normal. Only this part got encoded. This is a bit CDF style. Maybe the deliver was too high, but yeah, I don't know. But that's why we got the alert. I find this one a bit interesting. Little tricky. Cool. Now we can move on to stage 8. So far, if you have enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so again, we have to do the same thing. Let's see. Okay, so now there's not a search bar. It's creating a link. Now this is something you can predict, I think. Let me capture this in Burpsuite. And we have this parameter. So what happens when you send this request? Let me just show you first how this normally works. If you send a normal text, it's gonna get in href. It's gonna get converted into a link. So if I click on inspect, you can see it got inserted inside the href attribute of anchor tag. So we have our value here. Now we have to pop our XSS payload. How are we gonna do that? Let's try to see if we can escape out of it. Script alert document dot domain. Hope you can see it. and script. Make a link. Oh, not again. Okay, we didn't get a pop-up and it's just getting rendered as a normal text. Because if I go over here and click on edit as HTML, you can see everything is getting encoded over here. The codes, the angular brackets, and the rest of the thing, except this curly braces. So it's kind of pretty hard to inject the XSS payload here, but we can try something. We have to inject something that doesn't have quotes, double quotes, and angular brackets. In that case, we can use this amazing payload. Let me type it first and then I'll explain you. JavaScript alert and then document.domain. Now, we are not trying to close the anchor tag and getting out of it. We're just going to inject inside the anchor tag itself. So we are adding this particular protocol. Similar to HTTP or HTTPS, JavaScript itself, like this, is a protocol. Or you can also call it a URI scheme. And it executes when clicked. So the browser is going to see this and it's just going to execute the payload after it, or the JavaScript code. Make a link. And if you click on this, you can see we are getting a pop-up. So this one more like requires a user interaction, but it is still pretty impactful considering everything was getting encoded. We were still able to get a pop-up. So this one pretty interesting too. Now let's move on to stage 9. I hope you guys are taking notes actually, because watching this you might find it pretty good, but you might not remember it after a few days. So I think it's worth taking notes for, so when you are exploring a real application instead of just running scanner tools, this is something that you can actually try and analyze the way I'm doing it. Because many times the scanners are not going to do this analysis for you. They're just tools. And this must be making more sense to you now because the way we are doing it. Okay, let's see what's happening over here. No reflection again. Must be a reflection over here. Again, we have the size limit and it's getting inside the value attribute. So we have to escape out of it. Search. And I think we have it here. Yes, we do. Let me click on edit as HTML and we can see everything is getting encoded again. Code and the angular brackets as well. And this one is a bit tricky because we still have to get the pop-up somehow over here. Okay, I think we can take use of the hint now. UTF-7 XSS. Okay, it's saying UTF-7. Maybe we have to try putting our payload in that encoding format because it is also a kind of encoding. And maybe we can try to force it to render our payload as UTF-7 and it can bypass XSS. So we have this payload to try to convert this in UTF-7. Let me use GPT real quick. Okay. Convert this into UTF-7. Yeah, I meant actual UDF7. This one should work. Okay, search. Nothing really happened. Okay guys, I did a little googling and I found out that the browser isn't rendering UDF7 because the browser is default set to rendering UDF8 unless the server sends a particular header that is carse UDF7. So I did a little bit more researching and I found out that this is not going to work actually, and we cannot force the browser either. We tried a couple of things. This is only going to work in a very older browser of the Internet Explorer, so we gotta drop this out. But this will definitely work if we were using an older version of the browser. Since we didn't solve this challenge because we don't have an older browser, we cannot move to that stage. But let me see if I can just Google it out. XSS stage 10. Stage 10. Yeah, we do have the stage 10 over here. Great. Let me see what's happening here again. We have the same B1 input tag and we have to escape out of it. So let's just try this payload. And this is getting redacted. This is getting redacted in a weird way actually. And nothing is getting encoded this time, but this is not going to work because this is a wrong payload. We have to complete the whole thing here, document.domain. Maybe we can try putting on some smaller payload. Okay, let's try this one more thing. I just want to test something. Okay. I thought maybe everything after the dot gets replaced or something, but no. Let's try something. Let's try that same payload but in a different manner. Something like this, document. I'm typing it twice and see how it gets reflected. Okay, so after the dot, domain is gone.
1,000 years later.
So I think the server is checking for common words or keywords in the XSS payloads like document and then redacting the path after it. Because document in itself is nothing, but if you put like document.domain and trying to alert it, then you are trying to pop up an XSS. So I think there is some logic like that in the backend. So we have to try to bypass it. Let's try this. Oh, I forgot to close. Okay, this is working, which is good. But the thing is, in order to solve this lab, we have to alert document.domain. Technically, we have solved this challenge, but we have to solve this challenge using the document keyword only. So, okay guys, let's try something out. So I actually took a little bit help of GPT because this is weird and I'm not so good at XSS. But yeah, I got this suggestion that if I try to type a value that is not defined, something like this. So there is some kind of pattern matching and removing happening in the server side. We saw that when we type document.domain, the part after the document dot gets removed. So I think there is some kind of pattern matching. So we are supposed to bypass that pattern matching. So we can do it by trying some way of writing things like this one. We type the do and main twice. So let me click on search. And this works. This works because you can see it got stripped. The payload, I don't know how the pattern matching did that, but it somehow removed the do part and the main part, and then it ended up with domain, and which is the correct payload as nothing else is getting encoded here. We end up with the correct JavaScript code which get executed by the browser. So it's kind of a weird filter bypass, you can say. In cases like this, you can actually try different kinds of XSS payloads where you know that nothing is getting encoded, but your normal payload still not working. There's some kind of pattern matching happening in the background. In that case, I think it's a pretty good idea to use XSS scanners. That would help. Okay guys, we are done with 10 challenges for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Maybe I'll make a second part of it. I'm not sure about it, but I will update in my Discord server if I'm gonna make one, or on my YouTube community. So I hope you like this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.